If you are going to war, you want somebody like him to be your buddy.
One word to describe, I think he's a great man.
Loyal, caring.
Small in stature, but I think he's certainly a giant of a man.
Knowing how to treat the young with love, care.
Very warm, very real, and so down to earth.
A people's president.
So magnanimous and so distinguished.
Compassionate and to be understanding.
Passionate, inspiring, lifelong learner.
He's a true inspiration to me, a true hero. I think all of Singapore should be very proud of him.
Someone
We have lost a great man. His heart for Singapore and commitment to Singapore is an inspiration, certainly to me and my wife and to all Singaporeans.
We come here and say thank you. Thank you very much.
He was a very kind and humble, simple person.
He is the one that started off the President's Challenge, and we are one of the beneficiaries. So we are here to show our appreciation.
I think he's done a lot for the country, definitely, and it's actually very sad that he's passed away, so we really want to pay our final respects to him.
I know Mr. Nathan since 1983. He's gentle, but he's very smart, very knowledgeable, and very firm, but very kind. We will all miss him.
Mr. Nathan will be very sorely missed by all Singaporeans.
In March 1994, an American teenager living in Singapore, Michael Fay, pleaded guilty to 2 charges of vandalism and was caned after he lost his appeal against his sentence. In Washington, D.C., Ambassador Nathan faced an outraged American media. A new generation of Singaporeans got to see the cool head that had faced down the Laju terrorists 20 years earlier.
Do you personally agree with the concept of punishment? This kind of punishment?
Well, it's appropriate as far as it's legally sanctioned. I certainly agree.
Do you think your president and others in Singapore, the judge, the appeals, might consider that here is a boy, the boy has, we understand, some physical and emotional problems. He's got a father whose mother was in Auschwitz. He's an American. It was an act of vandalism. Whether he did it or didn't do it, there was drinking. I mean, some extenuating circumstances here. 2 friendly nations might say, let's pass on this one.
Well, Larry, I don't want to be provocative, but I think, victimhood is not an excuse as far as we are concerned. We have to have a crime, at least a relatively crime-free society where people are safe and free to walk about, and our laws are enforced strictly. They're transparent. And that's what applies to all cases. As to whether
he was very firm, very not excited, very calm in the way he defended the opposition without apologizing at all for the view that we take of the incident and the measures that we take to make sure that such things do not become common in Singapore.
We are a new country, We have to establish certain norms. We have to uphold certain laws. We cannot make exceptions because one is a big power and another is a small one. And they have to get a measure of this.
In 1996, Nathan returned from Washington, D.C. Then Deputy Prime Minister and Defense Minister Dr. Tony Tan had asked him to be director of a new Singapore think tank, the Institute for Defense and Strategic Studies. It was another new challenge. But the tried and tested Nathan would soon be called to the most important job of his life. He was in his mid-70s, but his service to the nation was far from over.
And then the band in attendance, comprising members of the police band and the Singapore Infantry Regiment band, played the national...
Since independence in 1965, Singapore's head of state, the president, was elected by parliament, and he acted on the advice of the government. But in 1991, the constitution was amended. The president would now be elected directly by the people. He would exercise, at his discretion, custodial or veto power over the spending of the reserves and in the appointment of key public officials. When Singapore's first elected president, Ong Teng Cheong, announced he would not be running for another term, a few names were suggested as viable candidates. 75-year-old S.R. Nathan was among them. He shared his surprise at this with then Senior Minister Lee Kuan Yew.
Why me? And why, as I told the Senior Minister, I said, I'm yesterday's man. Why do you ask me to do it? But I have a sense of obligation, an obligation to him, to all his colleagues, for the trust they placed in me.
On nomination day, when S.R. Nathan went to file his nomination paper, it turned out to be a day for old friends. His comrades from the unions were there. So was his old fruit seller.
36 years, friend.
Singaporeans got a glimpse of the easy style of a man who was to become their president.
I am humbled and very moved by this honor to be the 6th president and the 2nd elected president of Singapore. More so, being returned unopposed. This places on me an even heavier responsibility to discharge my duties.
The man whose unflinching courage had supported the first generation of Singapore leaders was now the trusted president of a younger generation of Singaporeans.
As a public officer, you have never hesitated to offer considered judgment and advice to ministers, even when you differed from them. You are eminently qualified to serve as a symbol for the nation and to exercise the powers which the Constitution has vested in you.
I promise to give of my best, the very best I can, and without fear or favor. I'll be a president for all Singaporeans. Every community of Singaporeans will be my parish.
He gave his blessings to the extension of the term of nominated MPs from 2 to 2.5 years, and the government supported his proposal for shorter terms for the reappointment of members of the Council of Presidential Advisors from 6 to 4 years. In 2005, at 81 years of age, he heeded the call to run for another 6-year term.
Fellow Singaporeans, friends, I am very humbled and grateful for the honor of being returned unopposed for a 2nd presidential term. I stood only because of the call by Singaporeans like you from all walks of life and the support that you have given me this past 6 years. 各位新加坡同胞，我很感谢大家的支持。我将在担任总统，我会尽力而为。Saudara-saudari yang hadir, saya ucapkan terima kasih, beribuan terima kasih kepada Anda semua yang datang ke sini untuk menyokong saya. Saya telah terpilih sebagai presiden buat kali kedua. Saya akan jalankan tugas sebaik-baiknya. Singapura bergantung kepada kita semua. Anda dan saya juga.
In doing his best, he had also helped the elected presidency mature in authority and stature.
I, Salapan Ramanathan, having been elected President of the Republic of Singapore, do solemnly affirm that I will faithfully discharge my duties as such to the best of my ability.
So from time to time, Parliament has amended the constitutional provisions governing the elected presidency.
I will be a president for all Singaporeans. Every community of Singaporeans will be my parish.
His first job was as an office boy, and his last, President of Singapore. Coming from a humble background, Sr.Nathan was living proof that any Singaporean can aspire to the highest office in the land if he is prepared to work hard and serve.
He's got the courage, he's got the commitment, he's absolutely, totally reliable. If you're going to war, you want somebody like him to be your buddy.